to our October edition of Sports Highlights right here on Newport News School System, Cox Cable 47, 517, NNPSTV.com, and all over social media. My name is Greg Bigovaris, and our program airs on Mondays at 7 a.m., 2 p.m., 7 p.m., weekends at 9 a.m. as well. This is our October show. Happy fall, fourth quarter of the year. It's gone by quick, and let's talk to Latasia Robinson. She is the head boys basketball coach at Warwick High School, making some history. She went to Heritage. Good to see you.
How you doing, Greg?
Very good. Now, you've coached girls and boys before, but this is a unique opportunity to be the varsity coach of the boys team.
Yes, it just came about. I've been coaching about 10 years now. I started back in 2012 working with the girls at Heritage, and then I kind of sort of just, when I seen Coach Scott at Heritage, he coached me, and I asked him, could I come with him with the boys, and that's how it all started with the boys, with boys basketball.
Right, and it really comes down to fundamentals still, and you kind of like what you learned as a student athlete, you kind of translate to your players today, correct?
Yeah, I feel like basketball is basketball. You teach it the same way, whether it's girls or boys, so I feel like I could just give back that way, and they kind of respond a little bit more to me than girls.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about your background. You went to Heritage High School. You played for Coach Gardner.
Yes.
And you were a state champion.
Yes. We won in 2008. The first girls team in Newport News to win. It was a great experience. We hold that to deeply in our hearts. You know, it was an exciting moment for us, and you know, we take that and we use it all the time when we're coaching and stuff like that, because we know what it takes to get there on this level on the high school level.
Sure, and you had some good rivalries against Woodside back then.
Yeah, Lakeisha Fred. A couple of Hampton was really our biggest rival. We couldn't really get past Hampton High School girls. That was our battle between HHS, the real HHS. So, but we did our senior year. We made it through, and we got all the way to the top.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work too. Well, let's talk about after Heritage, like college and so forth.
So I got a scholarship at Virginia Union University. I played there all 4 years. My first coach was Brian Underwood, and then I also played for Coach Lavinia, I don't know how to say her name, but Coach Wooten Collier. That time there, I was a true freshman. I started as a true freshman. Also, I think I was six man my sophomore year, made all CIAA rookie my freshman year as well, and it was a different speed, but I did good in college as well.
Very good. Talking to Latasia Robinson, she's the head boys basketball coach at Warwick High School, of course, and Warwick's had great men's coaches like Jim Harvey, Coach Anthony Solomon of Virginia, and of course the late Ben Moore, who the court's named after. That's quite an honor.
Yes, I kind of sort of grew up watching him coach. My brother went to Warwick. He's an alumni there as well. So I know all about the Ben Moore culture at Warwick, and that's something that I'm trying to bring back to Warwick. It's been a while, so I'm really excited.
All right, let's talk about the good stuff now. So you are the head boys basketball coach at Warwick. So how has that been received so far? Give us all of it. And then, of course, you have a discipline program that you're going to be ready for practice once it starts in November.
So for the most part, my feedback has been good, but of course there's always people that don't agree with me being a female coaching boys basketball. I have seen some negative comments and stuff like that as well, but I don't pay no attention. Like I said, basketball is basketball to me. You teach it the same way. You make a layup. A girl can make a layup the same way a boy can make a layup. You know, it's more a little bit athleticism with boys, but basketball is the same to me, and so that's how I teach it.
Yeah, look at Nancy Liebman. Look at Lisa Leslie.
Yes.
She coached the Big Three. She's a good example of
Yeah,
that.
she is.
Where it really doesn't matter. Somebody's got to shoot and dribble. And even the late John Wooden always thought, he was a UCLA coach, thought that women had better fundamentals anyway.
Yeah, I kind of sort of look at Lisa, and I'm a big fan of Dawn, but even though she coached girls basketball, and then Becky, of course, at the Spurs. So there's girls, you know, pursuing, you know, men's sports. So it's just, you know, the opportunity is there, and I took it.
Yeah, you're seeing more women being assistant football coaches, so it's
Referees.
absolutely, yeah. I mean, well, this is 2023
Yeah,
now. Who
like
cares,
the evolution of the game, you just have
Right.
to, accept it
Absolutely, but of course, you're going to still have to sell the players,
for sure.
And their parents both, correct?
Yeah,
You're already
absolutely.
expecting that already.
Absolutely. I think I have a good parent core right now from JV and my following, and they support me 100%.
Right. Talk about your good friend, Bonet Holston.
Yes, so she will be helping me out. She's been there for the last couple years, and she just told me that she wants to be there for me, and so we kind of see eye to eye when it comes to the game, and so I lean on her a lot to just make sure that I'm not doing too much or I'm not saying the wrong things, and making sure that we're giving the guys the right things.
Right, and she played for NC State,
Yes.
and every time she went on the floor was a grind,
Yeah,
just
big
like
time.
you did too.
Yeah, she's big time though. She's big time for sure.
What is your style as far as offense, and what type of defense do you plan on running?
I'm more of a fast style coach. I like to get out on the break. Push the ball up the court. I don't really like a lot of dribbling. It's pass. You could beat the break off the pass, and then as far as defense, I'm gonna guard you the whole way through. So full court, man to man, pressure. That's what I teach first, defense. So I really rely on defense to get me through.
Right, and people realize that high school basketball is only 32 minutes.
Yeah.
By the time you blink, it's pretty much done. I mean, it's pretty quick, so every possession does count.
Yeah, I try to teach the guys, defense win championships. So you don't really want to set up an offense, but as long as your defense is flowing, then you could just get easy layups. And the goal is to put the ball in the basket. So.
Yeah,
That's one of my
definitely. This is
things.
the October edition of Sports Highlights, talking to Latasia Robinson. She's the head boys basketball coach at Warwick High School. Warwick's had a lot of turnover in boys basketball lately. One of their coaches in the past, he passed away as well. So I know you're trying to bring stability.
Just looking in the past, I just want to bring somebody reliable. You can count on me. I'm here for the kids. It's nothing else but just coaching for me.
Right.
And just giving back and showing them the right way.
Well, I know one person who was really excited to hire you and went all out was your athletic director.
Yes.
Talk about Chad. He's a special person. He'll message me at 11:30 at night.
Yeah, he really promotes me being a female, and I appreciate him a lot for that. He pushes me and he tries to, advocate for me all the time in the school and stuff like that. So I appreciate Chad for everything he's doing for me.
Right. And
He has my back.
How about your women's basketball coach there? She's definitely a spark plug.
Yeah,
She's been there for decades now.
Yeah, she gives me tips. She texts me, calls me. If I need anything, I can call her. She's been in the game for a very long time.
She coached against you, right?
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Vanessa, right?
Yes, with Coach Starks.
Absolutely. We're talking to Latasia Robinson. Who do you think is going to be a tough opponent in the Peninsula District? Let's talk about the Newport News schools first, then go to Hampton.
For the most part, I don't think anybody gives Warwick credit, so I feel like everybody is going to be a tough matchup for me personally, because Warwick hasn't been so great the past couple of years, so I think it's going to be hard, but one thing I do give my guys is discipline and resilience, and so as long as we keep fighting, they're going to know we're there.
What about the opponents as far as the other schools?
Hampton schools, they're always going to be Hampton schools. They're real feisty and they're real tough. So, just keep fighting. We're going to have to push back. We can't we're not going to lay down. So just be looking out for us this year.
Absolutely. Football, they play once a week. Basketball, sometimes y'all play multiple games in 1 week. It's tough. Nate and I always talk about this during the broadcast. It's tough to go both ways playing football, offense and defense,
Right.
and then go from there to playing another sport like basketball, because it suffers. Usually it's very difficult to play one sport than play the other sport. How do you handle that? You can't tell a kid no, but it's not easy.
No, it's not easy. I kind of try to give them time in between, so if they're coming from football, I give them a couple weeks. If you're interested, let me know. I'll give them a tryout and see what, most time football, they're athletic, so, and they're aggressive, so that's something I like to deal with. So I give them maybe like a 2-week frame to get their bodies right, rest and stuff like that. But I also watch, so we do a lot of stretching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How important is that?
Stretching is important. We stretch before and after. Any workouts, conditioning, anything that we do, we're always going to stretch before and after. So I'm big on stretching.
Do you have any say in the uniforms as far as home and away?
No, right now I'm kind of sort of fighting for, a new look since I'm new. So that's something me and Chad has been talking about. So hopefully we can push that as well. So just to give us a new feel and bring some new ideas and new culture to boys basketball for Warwick.
All right, just in case any parents are watching this, and I'm sure they are, you have one main gym there as far as playing the games. Where do the girls practice and where do the boys practice?
So we kind of sort of like share everything. We also have another back gym.
Sure.
So, me and Coach Starks, we've been sitting down, getting us a schedule together. So she'll have the main gym one week, I'll have the main gym next week. And then we also have the recreation center as well. So we kind of schedule a slotted time. So that way, if any other activities like, football, it rains and stuff like that, and they have to come inside, then we have that accessibility.
Yeah, it's like an auxiliary gym.
Yeah.
Who on the team that has reached out to you who's really super excited about the basketball season? Is there one kid that can't wait? Or, you always need a captain.
Yes.
And you always need a leader. You can't do everything by yourself. And I know you're going to delegate some stuff to Bonet as well.
Yeah, I can say probably my JV captain from last year. He's in 11th grade. His name is Amari Levacy. When he heard about me getting a job, he called me immediately, and he was just excited because he actually was at Heritage when I was at Heritage in the 8th grade, and so then he ended up transferring to Warwick, and then here I come right behind him actually, and so he's always been like kind of sort of like my guy, and yeah, he's just a great leader for me, and he gets to the kids, like the other kids that don't really know me, so he explains, my dynamics and stuff like that as a coach.
What are your dynamics?
I'm a disciplinarian. I'm real tough. Some say I might be one of the harder coaches, football guys as well. They say I'm kind of mean and stuff like that. But I just push them. I push them and make them uncomfortable. And, most boys don't like that, coming from a female perspective. So I've been hard, me and my brother, 12 years apart. So that's where I really get it from. So he's always been rough with me. So I guess you could say I'm rough around the edges a little bit.
Well, that's good for you because you've coached both the girls and the guys.
Yes.
And you can, for a woman, you can read her and pretty much tell her what she's thinking a lot. It's difficult for a guy, but who's more difficult to coach, the girls or the boys?
Honestly, I think it's the boys because they don't listen and they're stubborn, more stubborn than girls. When I was coaching with the girls, you give them something, they take it and they try to break it down and they process it a little bit more versus the guys. You just tell them, they might hear you, they might not hear you, but they just run with it. They're just fast.
Yeah, especially during a timeout, you got to think on the fly, right?
Yeah.
You got to make adjustments at halftime, and
Yes.
every quarter, every possession, you're seeing things that you don't see. How do you scout a team with limited time? Normally, how do y'all scout?
I've been playing since I was 3 years old. So one thing all my coaches have ever said was my IQ for the game was very high. So therefore, I look at the player, and then I can try to sort of break down your strengths and your weaknesses on the fly. For the most part, that's something I feel like I'm good at.
Well, I hope your guys are all in shape. That's number one.
Yes.
And all the best to you and your Warwick varsity Raiders team, and history every day with the Warwick Raiders team. Congratulations once again. And thank you for joining us here on the October show. And best of luck to the varsity and the JV teams this year. All right, stay tuned for our next guest, another basketball coach. He's the boys basketball coach with the Denby Patriots, Jay Grimes. Stay tuned. We'll roll on with the October show after these messages.
You're watching NNPS TV. Catch sports highlights on Mondays at 7, 2, and 7, and on Saturdays and Sundays at 9 a.m. Visit us online at nnpstv.com to view all your favorite episodes. NNPS TV, watching education happen.
And welcome back to our second part of our October edition of Sports Highlights right here, our basketball edition. We had Latasia Robinson from Warwick High School. Now we switch gears to Jay Grimes. He's the head boys basketball coach at Denby High School. Greg Bicoveris, glad you're with us. Jay, good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
You have one of the neatest names around. I'm sure people have said, can you spell your name? Have you had that before?
Yes, indeed. My name is just the letter J. I get that all the time. People usually ask for verification, want to see my ID, just to ensure that it's actually just the letter J, and yes, it is. My dad actually thought, for some reason, right before I was born, he got a vision that somebody called me Dr. J. Mm-hmm. So he just threw the J in front of my name, and that was my full first name.
Yeah.
I have no ambition or goals of being a doctor, but hey, I got the name.
It's a great name. It's my middle name, too. And sometimes keep it simple in life.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about basketball. You were an assistant at Menchville. You went to Warwick High School. You played for the late Coach Ben Moore.
Yes.
What did Coach Moore teach you?
Everything. It wasn't just about basketball for him. It was bigger than basketball. He was a lot to everybody. He would literally give the shirt off his back to a player. He would find some money to go give a player a meal, to get some clothes for them. He was just the greatest mentor I could have ever found in basketball. And it continued not just in my basketball career, but post-basketball. He's the reason why I came back part of the reason why I came back to the area. The first reason was my dad was having health issues, but then he was the first one to reach out to me and said, hey man, let's make this work. Let's try this basketball coaching and helping out with the guys. I was his point guard, so he trusted me. We had a great relationship, great rapport, so he was just like, hey, let's bring this back full circle and pour back into these kids, and I was all for it. So.
Right. I mean, back in the 80s, Coach Harvey would coach Warwick, and then Coach Moore replaced him. But when Warwick played Ferguson, it was a standing room only. I know you'd like to see some of those basketball games, you know, the coaches being friendly with each other, but also having those intense rivalries.
Yes, indeed. I think it helps the community. People coming out, cheering for their teams, and Denby has a rich history in basketball. So getting involved and bringing back some of those alum and getting those people back involved with Denby basketball, I think would be just great for Denby, of course, but the community here as well.
Right, because Coach Katufis, he coached Denby and Heritage, and of course you remember him. And
yes.
There's all over the city, there's always been good teams.
Yes. Coach K was at Heritage when I was at Warwick. My brother actually went to Heritage, so I was always talking to Coach K. He was always like, hey man, you gonna come to Heritage with your brother? So Coach K is a great guy, and he had some great teams at Denby. Knocked off J.R. Reed, played Alonzo Mourning as well, knocked them out of the playoffs. So, man, he had some teams, and they had some players on those teams that were amazing and went off to do some great things after their high school careers as well. So there's a rich history that I definitely want to tap into and to show these guys that we have a product now at Denby that they are going to like.
And Woodside's been around for several decades, but you got to be impressed by them winning the state championship. And I know that was a big rivalry with Menchville, but you harbor nothing negative. You wish them all success, and it's not easy to get to that level.
No, it's not. I was at Menchville last year, like you said, and we aspired to get that same ring. Even though we fell short, lost to them at the Scope. It was a great game. They got the best of us, of course. Wish things would have been different. Maybe we would have had a state title. But, I mean, like you said, it's amazing to get that far. It's amazing. It's not by chance. It's not by luck. They did the work, and all praise to them. And it speaks volumes to the level of basketball in this area. It's not just, hey, Woodside did it, hey, it's all Woodside. Hey, it's bringing light and shedding some good things in this area. So I'm all for it, and I appreciate and proud of Woodside and what Coach Welsh had did there.
Yeah, Stephon right there. And of course, he played for Woodside too, and he played for Arkansas.
Yep.
But let's talk about the hiring process for you. I know you're excited about it. You're good friends with Chris Moore, of course, Ben's son.
Yes.
And of course, the Denby athletic director, Marcus, must have made you happy that day.
Yes. He's just a great guy. He's so innovative. This is only his second year as AD here, but it feels like he's just been doing this for so long. He comes to me with new creative ideas, and when I think I'm coming up with something new, he's probably thought about it for months now. So it's great having him around, and I'm glad that he felt confident in me being the Denby boys basketball coach. And also to have Chris around, he's an AD as well at Virginia Peninsula Community College, formerly Thomas Nelson. So just the knowledge and expertise I gained from both of those guys is amazing.
Yeah, we're talking to Jay Grimes. He's the head boys basketball coach at Denby High School, and he's a math teacher, folks. So I'm sure you'll be using, think about it, there's a lot of math correlations here.
Yes, yes.
Now that you're the brand new coach at Denby, 32 minutes, you can use that number in math.
Yes.
The court is not as long as an NBA court,
Nope.
but you have to use the dimensions properly, like
Yep.
geometry.
Yes.
And you only have 8 minutes and a quarter for time. So there are a lot of math variables.
There are a lot of parallels to math. But if I say math in the locker room, my guys might get a little
Yeah.
uh-oh. So I leave the math terms for the classroom, so my guys still play loose and not thinking a little too much.
Right, and back when you were in school and I was in school, kids stayed at their school. Rarely did you see transfers. You did see it.
Yeah.
Even back when I was in school, you saw a Menchville kid go to Denby. That was rare, but it did happen. But you were always loyal, and I think it's nice that somebody who goes to Denby stays at Denby. College right now, you don't know who's playing where, and it's almost like an all-star team every time you see a team play, because either one team's got it heavy on the hog or the other team's got nothing.
Yeah, and like you said, that portal right now in college is crazy. Players are playing here, then there next year, and they may even go to a third college by the time their career is over. And we have seen that here as well. It has trickled down to high school, and students have been multiple destinations. And it happens, but I would like to build more with players and have an opportunity to grow, because when you go to a new place, that process restarts, and it's very hard to gain all of the possibilities when you're having all of those moving pieces. So,
What's it like going to be taking on Menchville when y'all first play them? A lot of emotion there. I'm
Yes,
sure.
indeed. I may walk into the wrong locker room when I go there, because that had been home for so long. So that's where I started my coaching career. That's where I thought I would end my coaching career as well. But things took me in another direction, and I love it. It's a blessing. I didn't forecast it, but it's the best thing that has happened to me. And yeah, that game is going to be very emotional, but I'm going to pour into my kids like I do every game, and I'm not going to let my emotions change anything. I'm going to give it my all, just like it was any other game. So
Absolutely. What do you think about our first guest? She's the head boys basketball coach at Warwick High School, Latasia Robinson.
It's super proud. I'm glad just to be on the show with her. It is amazing what she is doing. She is breaking barriers, and I've been coaching against her since, I think we both started around the same time. So we've been coaching JV against each other. She first was at Heritage, so we were always battling at Heritage. And then she went over to Warwick, still battling against Mitchfield when I was there. And now we both moved up to varsity together. So it was kind of cool sharing that with her. But I'm super proud of her. She's an amazing coach. and she's a female coaching boys, but she's going to do it just as well as I can.
Right, it's all about relating and communication. And you talk, are you a basketball junkie? Are you always watching basketball? Do you get stuff from college? Do you get stuff from the NBA? Do you get stuff from the Big Three? Do you get stuff from YouTube? What are you doing to prepare for this season?
I do all of those. I not so much NBA, but more so college. I also look at YouTube a little bit. I also have a good bunch of college coaches and high school coaches that I talk to constantly, and they pour into me. Recently, I've been talking a lot to Ed Young out in Nesmond River. He's been a very helpful tutor of mine, mentor, and he's been more than willing to help me out with any transitions I have and things of that nature. So it's been amazing to see all of the help around that are more than willing, and of course they're more than capable of doing it. So I'm very thankful to have the support that I have.
We know Woodside and Metro are going to be tough. What about the Hampton schools?
Hampton schools, they're always gritty. So Denby, we haven't had a lot of success recently. So I feel like every Hampton school, their grit alone is going to provide some issues, some adversity for us. So I'm looking at all of the Hampton schools as, hey, that's going to be a mountain to climb, but we're ready. We're stepping to it. We're going to compete at a high level each day.
What about your roster? I mean, you've seen players in the past that if they're good enough, they'll play varsity in the 9th and the 10th grade. Others will just wait till they're juniors and seniors. Your thought? And even JV used to play in the 8th grade too.
Yes. So, of course, if you have that talent, I definitely want to bring a 9th or a 10th grader up to get that experience and have those 3 or 4 years that I could have with them. But also, on the other flip side, I also want to develop my JV. So kids that could bond and gel and create a cohesive unit on the JV team, I would like to also keep that kind of secure so they could build together and bring them up together. So right now, again, Denby hasn't had much success. So even if they have some JV success together, I think that would be very instrumental to their growth and the evolution of Denby basketball.
And finally, fundamentals are still important. Dribbling, passing, throwing the ball, whatever you got to do, teamwork, bench support. It's so important. Eye contact with you.
Yes. It's all about building a culture, right? The winning is going to come. It's going to be a byproduct of all the things that you just said, the fundamentals, the execution, the attention to detail. But the culture is what's going to keep and bring guys in. So getting that buy-in, and that's what I'm spending the time right now doing is laying the framework of what Coach Grimes expects and what I want to do with things. It's a little different than maybe what it has been, but still, nonetheless, the fundamentals are the fundamentals. So
yeah, from the attitude to the uniforms to you just can't win a game the day of the game.
Yes.
You have to win it before. But Jay, all the best to you, my friend. It's going to be a great, exciting basketball season. You're a war graduate, and of course, you're going back to Denby High School. You were at Metchville recently. All the best to you and your staff.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Jay Grimes right there, the head boys basketball coach with the Denby Patriots. Like he said, a great legacy led there by Coach Katufis in the past as well. That's our October show. Hope you enjoyed our great guests from Warwick High School and Denby High School and our great staff and crew. We love being in the studio. So hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful month of October. For Ray Price, I'm Greg Bicoveris. We'll talk to you soon.